Imagine for a second that you have an assistant, a genuine genius of an assistant. They can quote Shakespeare perfectly, solve complex calculus, and write poetry in 3 different languages.
Sounds pretty ideal.
Right. But if you ask them to transfer money to your savings account and you accidentally stutter or change one single word in your request, they might just burn the money instead.
Yeah, that is the absolute paradox of where we are right now.
We treat AI like this infallible genius, but would you really trust it to fly a plane if it gets completely confused by a typo?
Most people probably wouldn't. Not yet, anyway.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is Sunday, March 1st, 2026. If you're listening to this, you're probably trying to make sense of the noise out there.
And there's a lot of noise lately. It feels like the ground shifts every single day.
Exactly. So let's just take a breath. I want to channel a bit of a calmer, more reflective vibe today. We aren't just looking at the latest chatbot release or some cool new image generator.
We're looking at the plumbing.
The plumbing, yes. The physical and the theoretical rails that are being laid down right now to support a fully automated world. The infrastructure of intelligent automation.
It's the difference between staring at a shiny new car and actually looking at the highway it drives on.
Yeah.
And that highway is getting a massive upgrade.
Precisely. So here is our roadmap for the next 15 minutes or so. First, we're going to unpack Nvidia's massive new bet on 6G networks.
Which really proved the internet isn't for humans anymore.
It really isn't. Then we'll look at a major breakthrough in AI video, one that claims to have finally killed the uncanny valley.
That one changes the entire workflow for creatives.
Huge shift there. After that, we have to talk about the money. We'll look at Block, Jack Dorsey, and the $4.5 trillion labor shift happening right under our noses.
The economic reality check.
Right. And finally, we're going to end with a different kind of reality check. A new study from Princeton University about agent reliability that might honestly make you think twice about automating your life.
That Princeton study it's sobering.
So let's get into it. Segment 1, the nervous system. I saw this news about Nvidia forming a major alliance with Nokia, SoftBank, and T-Mobile. And my first cynical thought was just, great, slightly faster downloads for my phone? But I dug into the specs. That's not what this is at all, is it?
No, not at all. If you think 6G is just 5G but faster,
Yeah.
you're kind of missing the entire point.
Break it down for us.
See, 5G, the network we've been using, was designed for us. It was built for smartphones, for streaming 8K video, humans talking to humans.
Right, it was built for TikTok, Zoom calls, that sort of thing.
Exactly. But Nvidia and these telecom giants are looking at the next wave. And the next wave isn't you or me, it's machines talking to machines. We are talking about a network designed specifically for robots, autonomous vehicles, smart factories, and intelligent cities.
So the internet is essentially being gentrified for robots.
Huh. In a way, yes.
Yeah.
Think about the physical limitations of 5G.
Yeah.
It's latency. That tiny delay between sending a signal and getting a response. For a human, 20 milliseconds is totally unnoticeable. You literally don't feel it. But for a swarm of drones flying in tight formation.
Or a self-driving car reacting to a kid running into the street.
Exactly. 20 milliseconds is an eternity for a machine. It's the difference between a near miss and a complete catastrophe.
So how is 6G different physically? Is it just throwing up more cell towers, denser signals?
It's actually a move away from physical hardware. That's the critical piece. NVIDIA's pushing for software-defined AI networks.
Let's unpack that jargon. Software-defined AI network, that's a network run by adaptable code, not hardwired physical boxes.
Spot on. Traditionally, telecom gear is very rigid. You build a metal box, stick it on a tower, and it does one thing. It routes radio waves in a specific way.
Okay.
This new vision turns the network into a programmable intelligence layer. Imagine the airways themselves are actually intelligent.
Whoa, just imagine scaling that to a whole city. The invisible traffic of data constantly reorganizing itself around us, totally unseen. Billions of requests.
It's incredible. The AI dynamically routes radio traffic in real time. It adapts. It's general-purpose computing, replacing lockdown telecom gear.
So the network isn't just a dumb pipe anymore, it's a brain.
It's a nervous system. Consider a factory floor right now in 2026. You've got robots moving heavy materials, sensors monitoring heat, AI cameras checking for defects.
And they all need flawless wireless connectivity.
Right. If that network is static and suddenly 10 robots need to upload high-res video all at once because of an error, the system clogs.
And the robots stop?
Or they crash into each other. But if the network is AI-driven, it predicts that surge. It says, hey, I see a bottleneck forming in Sector 4, and it reroutes bandwidth instantly.
Before the human operators even know there was a problem. Proactive, not reactive.
Exactly. And this explains why Nvidia is leading the charge here. They don't care about selling you a monthly phone plan. They care about selling the chips running that brain.
Because if the network isn't AI ready, physical AI adoption just stalls.
100%. You can't sell millions of autonomous robots if they can't talk to each other reliably. Nvidia is essentially making sure there is a paved road for the futuristic cars they want to sell.
Beat. So is this just faster Wi-Fi or something fundamentally different?
It's not speed. It's the network becoming a living, thinking software layer.
Okay, so we have the physical rails, the nervous system is being built. Now let's talk about the content flowing through those networks. Segment 2, the creative breakthrough.
Oh, this is a fun one. This is the stuff you can actually see on your screens right now.
We've been talking about AI video for years, and visually it's been amazing for a while, but there's always that uncanny valley.
The eyes that look a bit dead, or the mouth moving like a weird ventriloquist dummy.
Right, it always broke the illusion. You'd see a stunning cinematic landscape, but the moment a character opened their mouth, you instantly knew it was fake.
It was soul-crushing for storytellers. It just pulled you right out of the narrative.
But according to this new guide on the missing piece of AI cinema, that era is effectively over. We've solved the lip sync and consistency issues.
It really looks like we have. The workflow has completely shifted. We aren't just generating cool 5-second clips anymore. We're seeing full-blown performances with custom voices and perfect lip sync.
The guide mentioned a few specific techniques that caught my eye. They solve very specific engineering problems. One was called the prompt pack.
Yeah, that's crucial for temporal consistency.
And just to define that, temporal consistency means keeping a face looking exactly the same frame to frame.
Exactly. One of the biggest issues with AI video historically is that the model forgets what things look like. It's hallucinating 24 images every single second.
So you generate a character in one scene, and in the next cut, their nose is slightly wider or their jawline changes.
Right. The prompt pack is essentially a rigorous framework. It acts like an anchor. It locks the identity data so the AI doesn't drift.
Like applying perfect digital makeup consistency.
It forces the model to reference the exact same facial structure data in every single frame. So the character feels like the same person, not just a close cousin of the person.
And then there's the desert survival case study. That sounded pretty intense.
It's a great framework for handling dialogue. Two-person dialogue in AI video used to be a total nightmare.
It always looked like two stiff robots patiently waiting for their turn to speak.
Very sequential. Human beings don't talk like that. This case study breaks down how to actually overlap reactions.
Seeing the listener react while the other person is still talking.
Yes. We nod, we grimace, we look away, we take a breath. This new workflow teaches the AI to cut between faces and layer those reactions so it feels organic. It creates actual chemistry between two generated beings.
But my absolute favorite part was the soundtrack glue.
Ah, the soundtrack glue. It's brilliant because it's not an engineering fix at all. It's a psychological hack.
Tell them how it works.
So even with perfect lip sync, you sometimes get these microscopic artifacts, tiny little glitches in the audio or video where the AI just hiccups for a millisecond.
Sure.
Soundtrack glue is the technique of using subtle, melancholic musical underscores or heavy ambient noise to mask those physical seams.
You're hacking human emotion to cover technical flaws.
It is pure psychoacoustics. If you play a sad, swelling cello line, the viewer's brain focuses entirely on the emotion of the scene.
Your brain is busy processing the sadness.
Right. So it completely ignores the fact that the character's upper lip moved weirdly for half a frame. It sells the cinematic vibe by distracting the logical part of your brain.
It's fascinating that we are solving highly technical problems with artistic sleight of hand. Beat. Does this mean the era of the glitchy AI video is officially over?
Yes. We've moved from cool clips to actual sustained cinematic performance.
Which is incredible for entertainment, but maybe less great for the people who used to make that entertainment or really do any other kind of work. This brings us to segment 3, the economic and social impact.
The numbers this week are heavy.
They really are. Looking at the highlights from today in AI, the headline that jumped out at me was Jack Dorsey and Block.
Yeah, Block. The company behind Square and Cash App. Dorsey just replaced over 4,000 workers with AI.
That is a massive chunk of a real-world workforce.
And the market reaction. The stock jumped 24%.
That is the part that sits uncomfortably, doesn't it?
It highlights the ruthless efficiency of the market. Investors see workforce replacement. They translate it directly to lower costs and higher margins, and they buy the stock.
But for the workforce, it's a blaring siren. Dorsey was very clear here. He said this agentic workflow could happen across most companies within a single year.
Agentic workflow, that's a big term.
Let's define it. It means AI planning and doing the job itself, not just helping a human do it faster.
Exactly. It's the difference between a carpenter using a power drill versus a robot actually building the cabinet while you watch. The human is just the architect now, or the observer.
And this isn't isolated to tech companies. The study noted that 93% of U.S. jobs are exposed to AI. That represents $4.5 trillion in labor value.
Exposed is such a polite economic word. It means the job can be done, at least partially, by software. We're watching a $4.5 trillion reorganization of the global economy in real time.
We've never seen a shift happen this fast. The Industrial Revolution took decades. This is happening in business quarters.
It's creating this very weird cultural atmosphere. On one hand, people are losing their livelihoods. On the other, you have this bizarre simulation theory trend going viral.
Oh man, the CEO names video. I saw that. 2.3 million views.
People are genuinely debating if we are living in a simulation because the characters running the AI revolution have suspiciously thematic names.
It's funny, but it really speaks to the underlying anxiety. When the world changes this fast and 4,000 people lose their jobs while the stock market cheers, reality starts to feel a bit scripted.
Like we were just watching a movie we didn't write. People look for patterns to make sense of the chaos.
Speaking of scripted chaos, let's touch on the geopolitical side. We saw a headline that Trump banned Anthropic's Claude.
A swift political ban. Right.
And yet, mere hours later, the U.S. military apparently used that exact same technology for strike planning in Iran.
It's a very stark reminder. Policy moves slow, utility moves fast. Even if a government publicly bans a tool, if that tool offers a massive strategic advantage in warfare or logistics, it's going to get used.
AI is just too deeply integrated into the fabric of defense to be switched off by a press release. It's like trying to ban electricity in the military. You just can't do it.
And it's everywhere, from the war room to the dining room. Slang AI just raised $68 million for restaurant voice AI.
That's the consumer side of the labor shift. You call a restaurant to book a table. You aren't talking to a hostess anymore.
You're talking to Slang. It handles calls 24/7, and it's driving double the reservations. It's relentless. It never sleeps, never takes a smoke break, never has a bad day.
It feels like the efficiency gains are finally hitting the Wall Street bottom line, aren't they?
Absolutely. The exposure is turning into replacement, and the market is rewarding it.
Well, to make those gains, we need better tools. Let's do a quick run-through of what launched this week. Segment 4, the tool belt, rapid fire. What's actually making life easier?
A few key things focused on speed and connection. First up is Claude Import Memory. This is a massive win for interoperability.
What does that actually mean for a normal user?
It means the walled gardens are finally coming down. You can switch from ChatGPT over to Claude, and it just imports your memory. It picks up exactly where you left off.
So I don't have to re-explain my entire life story and workflow to a new bot.
Exactly. No more starting from scratch just because you change brands.
Yeah.
Next up is Notra. It connects GitHub and Slack to automatically write change logs and blog posts.
That is an absolute dream for developers who hate writing documentation, which is all of them.
True. But the most technical update is OpenAI's new WebSocket mode. It cuts latency by 40%.
There's that word again. Latency. Why does a 40% cut matter here?
It's vital for voice apps. If you're building a real-time conversational agent, 40% is the diff right, and that is a massive trap. They tested 14 leading models across 500 different runs, and they didn't test for IQ or creativity. They tested for strict engineering reliability.
They used aviation principles, right?
Exactly. Think about it. If you build a passenger plane, you don't care if it flies mostly well. You care if it flies consistently every single time, regardless of the weather.
So they defined 4 pillars: consistency, robustness, predictability, and safety. What did they find?
They found that predictability is massively broken across the board.
What does that actually mean in practice for a user?
It means the AI literally does not know when it's confused. It sounds just as confident when it's completely hallucinating as it does when it's telling you the absolute truth.
It lacks epistemic humility. It can't say, I don't know.
And that is incredibly dangerous. The study found that if you change a single word in your prompt, just one synonym, the model might give you a completely different answer or just totally break down.
This comes back to the difference between probabilistic and deterministic systems.
Right? A calculator is deterministic. 2 + 2 is always 4. If you enter it a million times, it's always 4.
But an AI is probabilistic.
It's guessing the next word based on statistical likelihood. It thinks 2 plus 2 is probably 4. But if you ask it in a slightly weird way, or if the internal temperature setting is off, it might guess 5. It's rolling dice. It's not following a rule book.
See, that's the terrifying part. We are integrating this stuff into banks, into hospitals, into the military, as we just discussed.
And you simply cannot run a bank on software that completely breaks because a customer used a synonym. The industry has been obsessed with larger models, making the brain bigger.
But Princeton is saying it doesn't matter how big the brain is if the behavior is fundamentally erratic.
A genius who is drunk is still dangerous behind the wheel.
It really makes me think about my own daily usage.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be totally vulnerable here. I still wrestle with prompt drift myself constantly. Oh yeah, I'll spend a whole day setting up a complex, multi-step workflow, testing it, getting it totally perfect. I go to sleep feeling like an absolute genius. I wake up the next morning, run the exact same prompt, and the model has inexplicably decided to answer differently.
It breaks the entire chain.
It breaks everything. It feels like it's gaslighting me.
Yeah.
But that's the robustness pillar Princeton is talking about. We are building these incredible magical systems, but they are so inherently brittle.
We are building them into critical societal infrastructure, but they can shatter like glass if the prompt is just slightly wrong. So we're building skyscrapers on shaky ground?
We're building powerful engines, but haven't invented the brakes or the steering wheel yet.
That is not very comforting, but it is the reality we need to understand. Sponsor Galvin. Yes, sir. All right, let's bring this all together. Big idea recap. We've covered a lot of ground today.
We really have. We started with the physical rails. Nvidia and the telecom giants building a 6G network that is essentially a new nervous system for machines, not humans. A network that dynamically thinks and routes traffic for robots.
Then we looked at the creative side. The uncanny valley is dead. We can now generate video that is indistinguishable from reality, using clever psychological hacks like soundtrack glue to hide the seams.
But that immense technological power is causing a massive economic reorganization. We saw Block replacing thousands of workers with agentic workflows, and the stock market enthusiastically cheering for it. The $4.5 trillion labor shift is officially here.
And finally, the cold water. The Princeton study. We have all this power, all this intelligence, but we lack the fundamental reliability to actually trust it with the most critical parts of our lives. We have high accuracy, but very low predictability.
It's a high-speed train, but we aren't quite sure if the tracks ahead are actually finished.
So I want to leave you with a thought to mull over this week. We've talked about 6G networks creating a world where machines talk directly to machines. We've talked about AI replacing human labor at massive companies. We've talked about AI flawlessly generating our media. If the AI creates the network, replaces the workers, and generates the media that we consume, but as Princeton proved, it lacks the self-awareness to know when it is wrong, who is actually steering the ship. Are we the captains here, or are we just passengers on a very fast, very erratic ride?
That is the defining question of the decade.
If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit follow. We'll see you in the next one. Out to your own music.